Guys, welcome to your November reading. We have Mother's Helper over here. Steffi's here. Are you bringing luck to Aries? Yeah, I was a little bit hesitant, yes, but yes, nonetheless. So Aries, I'm going to shuffle the cards when I kind of like give my grace to my little princess over here. So what is November going to bring for you? First and foremost, the rains. Maybe you felt that kind of like hold on you of some kind of like sword. It's going to go away, or they're going to at the very least loosen, right? Specifically when your ruling planet, which is like of course hot-headed Mars, ends its cool down of a retrograde, and that's going to happen on the 13th, right? So it was like about 2 months of stop and start, and like maybe you felt like your goals are moving even kind of like farther out of reach no matter what you did. But you're going to see this month, or actually after the 13th, you are going to kind of like get that momentum back. And potentially also, if you have been trying and not getting anywhere, now you're going to start seeing some hard-earned rewards. You might get a phone call and say, oh, you know, we met so-and-so, you looked for this job. Or maybe you met somebody online and you had a date and you thought maybe you hit it off, but like really nothing happened out of it. This one jumped out, which is Knight of Pentacles. There is like some kind of friendship here that is really going to be important, right? So you will actually realize, and you already realize like through this kind of like weird kind of like stop and go. It's almost like you want to start a car in the winter and like it just doesn't want to go, and then you flood the freaking engine, right? So on the 15th, so this is happening on the 13th, like the 15th of November, we have the new moon. And this is going to be really unique to your sign, that you're going to get kind of like moment of introspection, right? Which normally, like, you are like the sign that really goes through the doors, kind of like knock everything down. But like, I mean, normally you would just like roll your eyes over that, but like, I mean, this is like really well timed, right? So just like Mars is kind of like refueling your fire, right? Like you will be really aware of kind of like how to kind of like rein the passion that you have inside of you, like where to go with that, right? So it's going to be motivation, it's going to be desire, and now you're going to have like, I mean, really goals where you really want to head toward, right? So you're also going to be very admired for this can-do attitude, because most of us are dealing with this like lethargy, pandemic, kind of like depression, sad, that kind of stuff, right? So the fact that somebody can bring this energy and move us forward is going to be really welcome. So let's see what else we get through the cards. And this is first of all you, Queen of Wands and a King of Pentacles. It shows relationships are going okay. In fact, more than okay. It looks like it could be like, I mean, they're all upright, so these are all good. These people are actually getting along, but it really tells me that it could be lots of choices, and that's why you have the Lovers here on the bottom. So it's it's kind of tough. First of all, we don't have any kind of like good choice, and then two good choices show up. So these two good choices would be that somebody could be very, I mean, keep in mind they were King and Queen of Pentacles. This also could be the parents of some sort, and some parents are going to be benefactors of some sort, because these guys come with money. These guys come with some kind of like wealth or some kind of ideas that actually will be really feasible. This also can talk about marriage of sorts. So either you're married, or you want to be married, or you're going to meet a partner that is kind of like get you in that situation, right? We have Strength. That's also talking about commitment of some sort. Maybe you're dealing with the Leo, and maybe you kind of like, this is like where the taming part comes through, that you have learned some kind of like really beneficial lessons, how and when to move forward. It kind of like the strategy was a little bit more refined throughout this kind of like, let's say, protective box period that we kind of like all had. And then you have Judgment. This is like really coming out like crazy this month. Judgment is all about releasing karma, and this is a massive karma release. If you go back to May, when I gave you the forecast astrological for the whole year, which was like doom and gloom, I know I'm not one of these people who will sugarcoat everything, because please tell me what's happening so I can get ready, right? Instead of like just trying to catch up and get this carrot on the stick, and you never get it. So Judgment says, well, you got the carrot on the stick. It's there. You have conquered something. Look at this. You have 2 major arcanas in the center of your reading. Majors are unavoidable. You got to have it. So that means some release is happening. You're coming back on horse. You're coming back to yourself. Everything is kind of like working well. 7 of Swords is kind of like one of those cards, even though it's like not as ominous in this particular deck as it's in the other decks, right? But here, like, he just is not, he's not kind of like happy with his 5 swords that he has. He wants to grab these that are kind of like forming a crest. So it could be somebody who is maybe attacking your family, attacking your values, who is taking something that is yours, or you feeling that somehow they want to damage you one way or the other. So it could be a little bit quote-unquote enemy kind of like in here. But the simply also can talk about some sharp words, and that also can be a family. You know, family sometimes like they're like well-minded, but how they how they say it, it's not always great, because you know that's going to be a little bit of communication. Hey, just because you think it's the best for me doesn't mean I think it's the best for me. Kind of like that situation. You have the Hierophant. So this is a commitment. This is marriage. This is marriage. This is kind of like some resolution. You guys either are married and going to have a really happy period. Maybe you're going to have a little bit brash or brief, I would say, scuffle of some sort, and that's going to be probably between November 3rd and November 10th. Right? Because everything in that period of time, and Mercury is out of retrograde but is still in Libra, we just kind of like need to equalize everything, right? And then on November 10th, Mercury enters Scorpio, and that's kind of like where some secrets are exposed, and this is clearly something kind of like secretive. So there is like something happening around those dates. Like really, I would say 7th and 8th of November, put it on your calendar, is going to be really tricky. Oh, another day to put on is November 30th. We have like this lunar eclipse. It's going to be interesting when it comes to secrets. So what's up over here? Is this like, I mean, that you're like going back on your physical routine, you're joining some kind of like movement. It can be kind of some kind of global conversation. You're looking in a bigger picture. Maybe you're looking into bringing a kid. Maybe you're looking into kind of like your own legacy. Kind of like those sort of things can be happening around. And then you have like, I mean, 2 of Wands reversed. And that can actually really talk about some confusion, some detours, but it's not a really big deal. It just simply means that like you have so many things on the go that sometimes you're going to drop the ball. Well, it goes without saying. Or maybe somebody is going to show you different options of like, I mean, how maybe a better direction in which way to go. You have here 7 of Wands. So now we have like 2 sevens, and this is clearly forming a picture that you're feeling very strongly about the path you're traveling. And I'm not talking about physical paths, even though that can actually really be kind of part of this thing. I'm talking about spiritual path. There is like kind of like defending your position and feeling really strong, basically in your own shoes, and feeling like, look, you know, I am who I am, with all the words, with kind of like all of these things. That's what made me. And sure, I have great parts, I have bad parts, but who doesn't? You have in your own house Page of Swords reversed. So this could be you. You can be very suspicious of somebody's motives. Maybe somebody is like, maybe something, I think what's happening, things are starting to happen too easily for you. After all of these things, you kind of like, you felt like proverbial, you know, cartoon mouse, like you're trying to kind of like spin in, you're trying to run away, but you're spinning in the spot because like, I mean, Tom is holding a Jerry, right, from trying to escape. That's kind of a thing, and all of a sudden, like now you actually did escape, you're getting anywhere you want to go, and it feels like, how is this possible? What kind of like change? What is really, really happening? Because you're going to be very suspicious, but that suspiciousness is going to make you take an extra analysis, kind of like takes extra, and if you're hearing this, this is like my dog drinking water right next to me. So this can really talk about like doing the due diligence, but somebody will find out that you're doing that due diligence, and that might kind of like not make them very, very happy. So this is like, look at him, he kind of like has all these books, everything. So he's saying, look, I need to do it. So that can be social media, that can be arguments, that can be the butting heads that I told you. Oh, and also like when Sun enters Sagittarius, that's going to be on the 21st, right? That's going to be really, really excitement, and it's going to be where many of us will feel morally righteous. So that's going to be some kind of like a shift where you'll be one of these like pack leaders in that particular case. You have the devil. Somebody's really, really tempting you. Look at this. You have the Hierophant, and that will be like almost like the priest and kind of like all these moral things, and this will be all immoral. So of course somebody's tempting you. Of course somebody's coming through. That can mean somebody's tempting you with a job that offers really good money, and then you leave your like really cushy job that you really maybe kind of like don't make this much, but like it's kind of like okay, right? Like you're really feeling comfortable. You leave it and you're laid off after 2 months, or it's not what it was, right? This could be an ex creating problems. This could be a mother or mother-in-law creating problems, or father-in-law, right? Because even though, like, I mean, it's going to be the duality that I'm seeing. And what is really good about it, that you will be really able to make really, really good decision when time comes. And then you have the Hermit, and Hermit is showing up in your hopes and fears. So this is kind of like your need and your understanding. I just really need to take this like time aside. Maybe you'll go for a walk, maybe you're going to walk the dog, maybe you're going to just simply meditate, because look, it is mirroring the Hierophant, which is almost the same thing if you really think about it. It's kind of like, okay, I need to participate in this like whole this big system that is called, you know, world and people, and I need to communicate, but at the same time, you know, I just like feel this urge to kind of like move forward. So Hermit is kind of like giving us wisdom, but that wisdom is not like in the Hierophant. That wisdom comes through other people giving us advice and telling us what to do, where in the Hermit that wisdom comes from inside. Through meditation we get those solutions. And Three of Swords, this is also very, very common this month in the readings. And like, why is that disappointment coming through? I think this is connecting to the Seven of Swords. It can be something that, well, Three of Swords, again, it's linking to these cards. So there is the triangle. Are you guys dealing with some kind of triangle? Because look at that, we see triangle here. Technically that can be seen as a triangle. Maybe somebody is dealing with a married man or taking man, or married woman taking woman. That can be seen, and you really want to figure out, maybe somebody's telling you, I'm separated, I just like want to do it, and then you're checking basically to see if this is true for your own sake, and then like maybe confronting them with that and asking them like, look, what's going on? But don't expect that you're going to get definite answers. On the 30th, you're going to get quite explosive, and you're going to demand to hear something. Maybe what you hear is going to be so shocking that you're not going to be willing to deal with that, and you're just going to kind of like walk away. That can cause this pain both to you and to the other person. But I really think it's going to be you. You're kind of going to have the strength, inner conviction and outer energy, which is a really, really good combination. The card that I drew for you, in addition to that, is Honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Well, holidays are not that great in pandemic. I think our American South neighbors are going to have Thanksgiving. Maybe this is kind of like referring to that, but to me, honeymoon is not overall very positive card. It is good because it's kind of like creating that glue that we need in a relationship, because later we can always fall back on these romantic moments. But I really think this is setting unrealistic expectations. It's just like, not every day is the roses and wine and everything. As long as you have this awareness and expectation that this kind of like is unusual, and it's kind of like a venture outside of this like kind of pragmatic, realistic world, that's all okay. So maybe you just like kind of like, maybe this is simple advice. Maybe you just have to lose yourself in maybe a little bit of La La Land, maybe a little bit of illusions. And maybe it's going to be just like you and somebody against the world, and maybe that's all you take. But I really think you'll be very analytical toward people in your life, including your coworkers, including your lovers, including people who are coming through, as this is going to be your due diligence in how to best deal with who gets your attention, who doesn't get your attention. I think you're going to make a really right decision, even though it might not be painless decision. So keep that in mind. But I think you will be really, really ahead in 30 days from now. So keep that in mind. So my dear Aries, if you want to get my daily dose of tarot, please join my Instagram or Twitter or Facebook at Cat Tarot. If you want a reading with me, you can reach me at cattarot.ca. Also, announcement, I'm changing system this year. I'm not going to be making annual Taroscopes, which were paid. Are going to be free, but you will need to be on both my subscriber on my mailing list in order to get them. So subscribe on my channel, and then go on my website cattarot.ca, and I just scroll on the bottom or wait for the pop-up to ask you to join my mailing list, and that way you're just going to get this link and you'll be able to view it. Thank you guys very much for your time and for being here with me. Until the next time, I'm looking forward to your comments. All the best, and I love you.